A few months ago, my best friend Ron and I played Doors for the first time. The game was newly released, so there weren't many tutorials online for how to play it. We pretty much died every time we encountered a new monster. We learned how to survive longer by trying different things with different monsters. It took us a whole afternoon to reach room 0050. But when we finally made it, the figure killed us multiple times as we struggled to open door 0051. "I'm getting annoyed with this game," Ron said. "I can't believe we have to pay Robux to revive." "I know," I said, "I wish we had Robux." "Do you think your parents will get you some for your birthday next week?" "I hope so," he said. "I'm getting good grades like they wanted. But yeah, this is getting annoying. I'm gonna go watch a movie or something before going to bed. We can play again tomorrow if you want." "I'm going to play a bit longer," I said. "I'll see you tomorrow at school." I continued to play after he logged off. I did another run by myself but died again in room 0050. The game asked if I wanted to pay Robux to revive, so I just closed the game and turned off my computer. It was already getting late, so I brushed my teeth and went to bed. Instead of going to sleep right away, I stayed up on my phone a bit longer and searched for ways to make Robux. Most of what I found mentioned donation games, but I had no talents or skills to exchange for Robux. Somehow, I ended up on a Reddit post where somebody said he got free Robux by making wishes in a Roblox game. I thought it sounded dumb, so I ignored it. I didn't find anything useful after that, so I shut off my phone and placed it on my nightstand. I looked up at the ceiling and tried to think of ideas for making Robux. When I couldn't come up with anything, I got my phone again and went back to the Reddit post. The bottom of the post had a link to the wishing game. Something in my gut was telling me not to click on the link. Something in my gut was telling me to put my phone away and go to sleep. But I clicked on the link anyway. That's when the horror began. The Reddit link took me to the page of a game I had never seen before. The game's title was in another language, so I couldn't tell what it said. Its icon was a photo of a monkey's hand. The hand looked very wrinkly, and it had long, skinny fingers. Most of the game's page was blank. The description was very short. It said, "This game makes your wishes come true." It didn't seem to be a popular game. It had 0 active players and only 341 total visits. It also had 0 likes and 0 favorites. I remembered watching a YouTube video of people getting banned after joining certain Roblox games. It had something to do with bad code in the games. I didn't know how it worked, but I thought maybe this was one of those games. At the same time, I was curious to see what the game was about. I joined it. My character spawned in the middle of a long, empty white hallway. The only thing that stood out was a red door at the end of the hallway. I went to the door and walked into the room. The room was small. Its walls and floor were white too, and it was basically empty except for a wooden table in the middle of the room. On top of the table was a chopped-off monkey hand. It kind of looked like the monkey hand from the game's photo. When I got close to the table, a message popped up, saying I could pick up the hand. When I picked it up, it started to wiggle its fingers. Then another message appeared that said, "What is your first wish?" The bottom of the message had an area where I could type. I typed in random letters and numbers into the text area to see what would happen. The same message popped up again, "What is your first wish?" I was creeped out by the white room and the monkey hand. I thought that maybe the game was a prank and I was about to get jump scared. Then I noticed a white piece of paper on the table. There were a few lines of text on it. It read, "You have been granted 3 wishes. Here are the rules. 1. You can't wish for more wishes. 2. You can't undo a previous wish. 3. You will be banned from the game when you make your final wish." It's a prank, I said to myself. I shut off my phone and put it back on my nightstand. I closed my eyes and tried to fall asleep, but I couldn't. I kept thinking about the game and the 3 wishes. Obviously, it had to be fake. But what if it wasn't? I reached for my phone again and opened the game. If it's not real, then what's the harm? I thought to myself. I should have known better. I logged back into the game, grabbed the monkey's hand, and typed my wish. I wish for a $25 Robux gift card. Another message appeared that said, "Your wish has been granted." As soon as I read the message, I heard a loud screeching sound in the distance. The screech was immediately followed by a loud bang and then a crunch sound. I got up and ran to my window. I could hear police or ambulance sirens in the distance. A car accident? I wondered. My room is on the second floor of my house, so I was able to peek further down my street. But everything seemed normal outside. I guess it happened on a different street. I wonder if Ron heard it, I said as I walked back to bed. I pulled my bed sheets aside and looked around. I was half expecting to see a Robux gift card on my bed, but there was nothing. I picked up my phone and looked at the game. There wasn't anything new on the screen, just my character holding the ugly monkey's hand. I jumped into bed and covered myself up to my face. I can't believe I fell for that fake game, I thought to myself. I went to sleep thinking about how dumb I had been, not realizing that my wish had actually come true. The following morning I woke up and searched my bed and my nightstand for a Robux gift card. Nothing, duh. I thought. As I got ready for school, I thought I would at least have something interesting to tell Ron. But when I got to school, I realized Ron was absent for the day. "You sick?" I texted him. I didn't get a reply back. I thought maybe he got sick and was resting, or maybe he was at the doctor's office. I texted him again when I got back home, but still no response. Ever since we were little, Ron and I had played Roblox every afternoon, even when one of us was sick or had homework. So I found it strange that Ron wasn't online after school. I went to my mom and asked her if she could take me to Ron's house, which was only a few blocks away. I had to beg her a few times until she finally agreed to take me. When we arrived at Ron's house, I practically jumped out of my mom's car and ran to the front door. "I'll pick you up before dinner," my mom yelled out at me. I waved at her as she drove off. I knocked at the door twice and waited. Ron's mom opened the door. Her eyes looked red as if she had been crying a lot. When she saw me, she let out a yell and started to cry. "Mrs. Jones, what's wrong? Are you okay?" "I came to see Ron," I said. When I said Ron's name, she let out another scream. Black makeup ran down her eyes, and her hair stuck to her wet cheeks. Her pale face seemed a bit scary, especially when she screamed and her mouth got super big. Ron's dad came to the door. He was wearing a neck cast and had a few scratches on his face. When he saw me, he looked like he wanted to cry as well. "I came to see Ron," I told him. "We have some terrible news," he said in a soft voice. Ron's dad invited me in, and we sat in their living room. Both seemed off to me. Something bad had happened, but I didn't know what. "Where's Ron?" I asked again. "Honey," his mom said, "Ron." Her words trailed off into a whisper, and I couldn't tell what she was trying to say. "We were in a car accident last night," Ron's dad said. He touched his neck cast as he spoke. I didn't know why, but a pit was forming in my stomach. "I was going to the store to buy Ron's birthday present," Ron's dad said. "I was planning to sneak out of the house and hide the present until his birthday next week. But he saw me getting into my car and begged me to go. He wanted to look at the gaming magazines at the store, so I took him with me." He paused to look down at the floor, then he looked back up at me. Ron wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Ron's mom gave out a loud scream and his dad hugged her. His eyes were getting teary as well. We were on our way back from the store. I don't know what happened, I didn't even see the truck until it hit us. Ron's dad took a deep breath and said, "Ron got hurt. He passed away shortly after arriving at the hospital." I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. It didn't seem real. I was just playing Roblox with him the day before. The pit in my stomach felt heavier and my fingertips tingled. "Ron's birthday present," his mom said between sobs. "Dear, can you bring Ron's birthday present?" Ron's dad nodded and walked off to Ron's room. Part of me imagined Ron bursting out of his room and telling me I fell for a horrible prank. But it wasn't a prank, it was too dark to be a prank. Ron's dad came back with what looked like a piece of paper and handed it to Ron's mom. "Here you go, dear," he told her. "Ron won't be able to use this anymore," Ron's mom said. She wiped the tears off her face. "You two were best friends and both loved Roblox. I'm sure he would have wanted you to have this." She stood and handed me the piece of paper. When I saw what it was, I was sure this had to be a dream. "I'm dreaming," I thought. "I have to be because this is impossible. It can't be real." Ron's mom had handed me a $25 Robux gift card. It was exactly what I had wished for. I spent the next few days alone in my bedroom. I didn't feel like talking to anybody, not my parents and not my little brother Dave. My wish had come true, but it had cost me my best friend. I ended up tossing the Robux gift card into the trash. The screech and bang sounds I heard after I made my first wish was probably Ron's car. I don't have proof that that's what I heard, but deep down I knew it was. My parents let me skip school for a few days until I started to feel better. I also skipped Ron's funeral because I felt too guilty to see his parents. They would probably think I was a monster if they knew it was my fault he was gone. The guilt I felt led me to eventually tell Dave what happened. I wanted him to tell me I was being dumb, that it was all a big coincidence. There were many times when I almost told him about the wishes, but I was afraid my parents would hear us. I didn't want them to think I was a monster too. And then one day the opportunity finally arrived. My mom and dad were going to a work party, and I managed to convince them that Dave and I didn't need a babysitter. I was almost 13, and Dave was 11, so I convinced them that we could take care of ourselves for a few hours. Soon after they left, I invited Dave into my room and told him everything. To my surprise, he immediately believed everything I said. Maybe it's because he's younger than me and magical stuff seems more real to him. I don't know, but he believed me. Worst of all, he had a solution, a way to end this nightmare. I say worst of all because it was the moment we decided to do something terrible. "Why don't you wish for him to come back to life?" Dave asked. "I don't think that's how it works," I said. I wasn't sure if the wishes were powerful enough to bring someone back to life. His body is probably decomposing by now, I thought. I was reminded of the stuff we learned about decomposition in school. "But it's magic," Dave said. I thought about it for some time, and then I decided to do it. Ron's already gone. What's the worst that can happen? I thought. I opened the game and got the monkey's hand. When the text box appeared, I typed my second wish. I wish for Ron to come back to life. I wish he was here. I waited for something to happen. Dave and I stared at each other in silence for some time. "So what happens now?" he asked. "I don't know," I said. "Maybe I will see him tomorrow at school." Dave crossed his fingers and said, "I hope the wish works," before exiting my room. I lied in bed for about 30 minutes and stared at the message I had written. I wondered if the wish would work. I wondered if I would see Ron again. Without realizing it, I dozed off into a nap. I woke up about an hour later to a knock at the front door. At first, I thought my parents were home, so I yelled at Dave to go open the door for them. I heard his footsteps go down the stairs, and then I heard the front door open. That's when Dave let out a loud scream and I jumped out of bed. I ran down the stairs and almost tripped when I saw the dark figure standing in the doorway. It was a short figure. Its skin looked green in the moonlight, and its face was shriveled like a raisin. Its eyes were gray and puffy, and its hair was dirty and messy. I was so focused on the ugliness of the creature that it took me a few seconds to realize it was Ron. When Ron saw me, he made some gurgling sounds as if he was trying to speak. But no words came out of his mouth. He looked angry. He reached out and grabbed Dave, who screamed once again. I rushed down the stairs and pushed Ron to the ground. His green skin felt slimy. Both he and Dave fell to the ground, so I bent over and pulled Dave back up. From up close, I could see that some of Ron's teeth were yellow, and some were missing. His fingernails were long and covered in muddy soil. In my mind, I could picture the moment that Ron came back to life and dug himself out of his grave. It gave me chills. Dave tugged at my shirt. "Let's go," he yelled. I snapped out of it, and we ran up the stairs and locked ourselves in my room. "That was Ron," Dave said in a shaky voice. He looks like a zombie," I thought. My second wish had come true. Ron had come back to life, but he was a zombie now. An angry zombie who wanted to hurt us. I knew it was my fault he was in that accident, and now he knew that too. We heard Ron's footsteps as he walked up the stairs. His footsteps stopped right outside my room door. He made loud screeching noises as if he was trying to talk. But again, no words came out. He began to slam my door. He screamed. Then he banged the door again. "I'm scared," Dave said. His voice was soft and shaky, and his eyes were watery. "He can't get in," I said. "I don't think he's strong enough." But I wasn't sure that was true. The banging was pretty loud. I looked around my room and spotted my dresser. "Help me move this," I said. We moved my wooden dresser to cover the door. The dresser was a present from my grandparents. It was made out of real wood and was super heavy. "That should keep us safe," I said after we managed to move the dresser in front of the door. "I'm gonna call Mom and Dad." I ran to my bed and searched for my phone, but I couldn't find it. "Where the heck is it?" I thought. I searched and searched and searched, but the phone was missing. "Dave, do you have your phone with you?" "I left it charging in my room," he said. He was in tears now. "I'm sorry." "It's okay, it's not your fault." Ron had broken the door open. The dresser stopped the door from opening all the way, but Ron still managed to fit his skinny, green arms into the room. His hands were trying to move the dresser out of the way. That's when I had an idea. I ran to my computer and turned it on. "What are you doing?" Dave asked. "I'm logging into Roblox," I said. "Are you crazy? There's a zombie outside the door and you want to play Roblox?" he yelled. "Trust me," I said. I logged into the Wish game and grabbed the monkey's cut-off hand. My fingers were shaky as I typed in my third wish. I had to go back and fix several typos. Ron went back to banging on the door. I could hear the dresser moving a tiny bit with each bang. "He's almost inside," Dave yelled. I looked at the door and saw that Ron was poking his upper body into the room. The space between the door and the dresser was still too narrow for him to come in, but now he was able to put both hands on the dresser. "I hope this works," I thought. I finished entering the wish and the noise stopped. I turned toward the door. Ron wasn't trying to get in anymore. Dave and I stayed perfectly quiet, and then we heard footsteps walking down the stairs. "What did you wish for?" Dave whispered. "I wished for Ron to go back to his grave." I sneaked to the door and peeked into the hallway. When I saw that it was safe, I rushed to the stairs and looked down toward the front door. Ron was walking out of the house. I signaled for Dave to go to his room, which was next to mine, and to grab his phone. "Call Mom and Dad," I whispered. He nodded and ran to his room. When I was sure that Ron was gone, I ran down the stairs and locked the front door. Then I ran upstairs again and told Dave to come back into my room. We locked the door again and placed the dresser in front of it just in case Ron decided to come back. When my parents returned, Dave and I told them what happened. But of course, they didn't believe us. I tried to show them the Roblox game, but I couldn't find it. I think it banned me when I made my last wish. I was able to find the Reddit post, but it didn't have the link to the game anymore. I struggled to fall asleep that night. Every time there was a noise, I got up from bed and looked out the window. I expected to see Ron again, but he wasn't there. Eventually, I fell asleep. In my dream, I saw Ron walking toward the cemetery where he was buried. He walked very slowly with his head hunched down. He looked so sad and alone. "I promised to find a way to get you back, Ron."